Mother Simpson is such a heartfelt episode of The Simpsons. I actually thought this would be rated slightly higher than it is on IMDb. It's got 8.7 out of 10, which is a phenomenal rating in itself, but there are some episodes of The Simpsons that breach that nines barrier. And I was expecting that from this one because I truly think it's a pretty phenomenal episode. But nevertheless, 8.7 out of 10 is still fantastic. This is the 8th episode of the 7th season, directed by David Silverman, and it aired in December 1995. And beyond the description on IMDb, I'm not going to say any more about the narrative, at least not in any detail. But I will talk about the characters and certain things that I thought worked very well. So the description from IMDb is as follows. After faking his own death, Homer is reunited with his mother, who harbours a deep secret. So Homer fakes his own death, and obviously his mother gets wind of this, and he turns up at the Simpsons' house, and obviously with Homer not being dead, we have this very emotional, heartfelt reunion, and there's some fantastic moments where Homer starts to behave like a child, constantly trying to get his mother to look at him and give him praise for things that he is doing, like a child would, and there's a lot of making up for lost time. But it's not just as straightforward as that, because Mona, Mrs. Simpson, voiced by Glenn Close, actually left Springfield for a very specific reason that Homer wasn't aware about. And we learn about this reason, and there are some flashback scenes, and we get to find out a lot more about that. And I think she's a really complex, fascinating, well-written character, and obviously well voice acted. She definitely is a really interesting character, and I just loved how giddy and childlike Homer became when he was around her. Abe as well has a really interesting role to play in this one, given obviously his past relationship with Mona. I really enjoyed him in this one as well. I won't say what it is, but the actual events leading up to Mona leaving Springfield are quite interesting. I think they worked quite well. They could have obviously done a whole myriad of different stories with this to give her that kind of backstory, but I think what they went with worked. I enjoyed it. It was fascinating. It also gave her a good grounding for what happened at the kind of very end of the episode, which I won't divulge, and everything seemed to make a lot of sense. It's so sentimental and so beautiful that apparently they'd asked that adverts or commercials were not played over the closing credits. I won't say why, but it's definitely a very different episode. I think it's very well done from start to finish. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not my absolute all-time favourite, but certainly is one that I'm happy to watch again. And if you haven't seen it for whatever reason, or you haven't seen it in a while, it's definitely one that's worth watching.